Hi, folks, and welcome to another podcast of Health Talk from Marz. It's out of this world. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about 5 foods that will extend your health span and your lifespan. So stay tuned. Okay, so 5 foods to extend your health span or lifespan. So these are foods that have different properties in them, and it's simple for you to add them into your diet. And if we take a look at blue zones around the world, we find that in these blue zones, people eat these foods on a regular basis and frequently. So the first food I'm going to talk about, general category, are legumes. Legumes are particular foods that basically are beans. Beans are a food in particular that all the blue zones eat 3 times a day during their time. And so that can include a whole host of different beans. And so what I recommend for people is to make sure that they're consuming beans that have color. So the darker the bean, the more flavonoids that are in those beans. So black beans in particular are particularly high in certain compounds. They're particular types of fiber that are soluble fiber. Soluble fiber has an effect of lowering cholesterol levels. And so instead of taking a drug to lower your cholesterol, we recommend that you eat at least a couple of servings of beans on a daily basis. So beans are something that a lot of people have trouble digesting. So we recommend that you soak your beans for an extended period of time. That would be overnight. Make sure you drain the fluid, and you can cook your beans with something called kombu, which is a type of seaweed that you can put in there. And that helps to break down some of those gaseous compounds that are found in beans. So just know that some people can take some time to get used to eating more and more beans. So if you gradually increase your dosage, you're going to definitely be able to digest those beans more readily. Another trick you can do is you could sprout your beans. So sprouting the beans breaks down also some of those compounds that cause gas in the body. So mind you, the darker the bean, the more different types of flavonoids that are found in those beans. So black beans or kidney beans or red beans are going to have a tendency to have more of these polyphenols. Polyphenols are compounds that will protect you against various types of oxidative damages that happen in the body. Okay, food number 2. So sweet potatoes, in particular purple sweet potatoes. The Okinawans, one of the 5 blue zones in the world, actually subsisted on purple sweet potatoes for more than 50 years. In fact, 80% of their caloric intake came from purple sweet potatoes. If you go to Okinawa, they actually have trucks, like ice cream trucks, that deliver baked sweet potatoes to neighborhoods. So it's very interesting to watch that. So the purple sweet potatoes contain a particular polyphenol called anthocyanidine. Anthocyanidine is that purple color of the potato. So one little trick about the purple sweet potatoes, if you cook them and you eat them, versus if you cook them and you let them cool down and you let them hang out for a little while, you'll produce something called a particular type of starch called resistant starch. Resistant starch has certain chemical characteristics different than other types of starch. Resistant starch helps with regards to insulin insensitivity. So people that have problems where they're pre-diabetics or diabetics would do really well to eat purple sweet potatoes. And mind you, it's important to also eat the skin when you eat that purple sweet potato. The skin also contains certain trace elements, boron, molybdenum, vanadium, silica, manganese, that aren't in the middle part of the sweet potato. So don't avoid the skins. The skins are a good part of the sweet potato. And sweet potatoes have a relatively low glycemic index, meaning that they tend not to raise your blood sugar that much. So, and you can add them. What I like to do is bake the sweet potato and then chop them up into little slices. So they're like very thick potato chips, and then bake them into the oven a little bit, makes them a little bit chewier, and also accentuates the special type of starch called resistant starch. So keep that in mind. Okay, food number 3, we're going to go with, which was one of my favorite, is flax seeds. So flax seeds are a particular food that you can sprinkle on various types of foods, like it could be salad, it could be a stir fry, it could be cream of buckwheat, could be cream of oatmeal or brown rice. So the flax seeds are something that have a tendency to actually absorb fluid. So they're really good at stimulating bowel function. So this is something that you will extract some of the compounds in the flax seeds, one of which is called secasolariceresinol. Secasolariceresinol is a compound that's very cancer protecting, and it's considered to be as part of the lignans in the flax seeds. So these flax seeds, again, really helpful at stabilizing blood sugar, but they also contain omega-3 fatty acids. So flax seeds have the highest amount of alpha-linolenic acid of almost all plants. So keep that in mind about these flax seeds, that you can just sprinkle them on different foods and you can eat them raw. Now, some people say, well, you should grind up the flax seeds to make more bioavailable some of the constituents. And that's probably true, especially with regards to the omega-3 fatty acids or the alpha-linolenic acid. So alpha-linolenic acid should not be mixed up with gamma-linolenic acid, which is an omega-6 fatty acid. An omega-6 fatty acid that gives rise to a whole set of different prostaglandin hormones. So keep that in mind. Again, with flax seeds, whenever you have a chance to use them on a food, sprinkle them on there. And you can also use them in desserts. If you're eating ice cream or you're having yogurt, you can put them in the yogurt or also the ice cream. Okay, number 4 are going to be sprouts, particularly broccoli sprouts. So broccoli sprouts are extremely high in something called glucosinolate and sulforaphane. Glucosinolate is a special compound that actually gets turned into sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is a particular compound, sulfur-containing compound, that's extremely protective for a number of different cancers, including breast cancer, colon cancer, and prostate cancer. So these are all cancers that are very, very prevalent in our culture today. So again, having these broccoli sprouts. Now, these broccoli sprouts, they are in the cruciferous family. So these foods would include cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and arugula. They all are in this same brassica family, and they contain glucosinolates. But broccoli sprouts contain almost up to 100 times more of the glucosinolate than also these other foods like cauliflower and broccoli. So here's a little important note about this compound glucosinolate. So glucosinolate is a precursor to sulforaphane. Glucosinolate needs to get converted into sulforaphane by an enzyme that is found in the raw state of whatever food it is that you're eating. So the enzyme is called myrosinase. So if you overcook a particular food, so that would be, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, arugula, what's going to happen is you'll kill the myrosinase, you'll inactivate it, and you won't be able to convert the glucosinolate into sulforaphane. So that's why we highly recommend broccoli sprouts. And I do love arugula. I think arugula also not nearly as high as broccoli sprouts, but contains the enzyme myrosinase. So using arugula on your pizza is a great idea. Using broccoli sprouts on your pizza, also a great idea. Using broccoli sprouts in your salad and just on lots of different foods as a garnish is a real advantage to your health. So keep that in mind. Okay, last but not least, food number 5 is going to be, drum roll please, and that is going to be blackberries. So blackberries are near and dear to my heart, especially because they're purple. I happen to think purple is the best color in the world, but purple is important because it represents the flavonoid anthocyanidine. Anthocyanidine is protective against various types of cancers and also cardiovascular disease and also macular degeneration and Alzheimer's disease. So you want to make sure you get lots of anthocyanidines in your diet, and blackberries is a wonderful way to get them. Another compound that's protective specifically against cancer is ellagic acid. Ellagic acid is found in fairly high amounts in blackberries. So I always keep a bag of blackberries in my freezer, frozen blackberries. But whenever I can get blackberries live, and I do grow them in my yard, or I should say they grow on their own by themselves, and they are very resilient. And you notice that blackberry bushes kind of spread like a cancer. Interesting that you're using them to treat or prevent cancer. So there's a class of botanical medicine that believes that as a plant behaves, we can tell some of its medicinal properties. So blackberries, keep them at handy in your freezer as much as you can, and then use them in various types of foods. I had them this morning in my cereal. I made some cream of oatmeal, and I had frozen blackberries in there with flax seeds too, by the way. So I got 2 of the top 5 foods in there. I didn't add sweet potato in there, but you could have added sweet potato as well. So I want to thank you for joining me in this episode, Health Talk from Marz. If you like what you heard today, click on subscribe and like below. And also you can find me from marznutrition.net. Further information about products and other talks that I've done in the past. So join me in the future for further podcasts. Health Talk from Marz. It's out of this world.